guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie Marie Aker and I'm an actor and filmmaker. I've been in the game for a while now and I've been thinking and I've realized that there are a lot of things that I would have done so much better if I knew them a lot earlier in my career. So that being said, I would love to share with you some things that I wish somebody would have told me when I started my career in the acting business. I think something that a lot of new actors run into, and something that I was guilty of when I first started in my career, was being so obsessed, which is not inherently bad. I think that you should have a lot of passion. In fact, you can't be in this business without the passion. But that being said, you have to make room for other hobbies and other interests in your life. To be an actor means to be somebody who's very multifaceted and is very well-rounded, and a good actor actually has lots of life experience. So I highly encourage people to be more introspective and look into things that maybe they do have an interest in but that they've never tried or that they don't spend enough time doing. If you're a hiker and you like to hike, go hike. If you're a painter and you're a wonderful artist, you should really invest in those talents, because they make you who you are, and who knows when they can come in handy anyway for your career. Ultimately, what makes a good actor is an actor who has empathy. And I think that the way that you can gain empathy is by experiencing new things and putting yourself in the shoes of other people. That's the first thing I wish somebody would have told me going into this career. You really need to find out who you are as a person. So something that I would venture to say every actor deals with at some point in their career is a feeling of loneliness, and this feeling that nobody is ever going to understand their struggle. And I can say that for myself, it can be a lonely journey, or at least feel that way, because what we do is a very risky experience. We take a lot of risks to get where we're going, and it's never a solid path. It's never done the same way twice. And so that takes a lot of courage and a lot of time and effort. And a lot of times that can really seep into our personal lives. A lot of people aren't necessarily always happy because I'm super busy, or I have a last-minute audition that I get and I have to stay up till midnight to do it. Your family and friends may not understand your career, but it doesn't mean that's not valid. And it doesn't mean that you don't love your people that you're surrounded with just because you're pursuing this. It can definitely take a toll, but everything comes with a risk, and some people just may not understand what that kind of risk looks like in this career. It can feel lonely because a lot of times when explaining yourself to people, they have no idea the kinds of things that you go through or the kind of victories you have. Sometimes you getting a call back or you getting in the eyes of a casting director is a really big victory, and some people may say you didn't get the job. And just know that that is something that every one of us goes through at some point. Success comes at different points for different people, and sometimes that can mean way later in somebody's life. Take Bryan Cranston, for instance, whom I find a very big inspiration. He didn't get started in his career until, oh my goodness, he was in background work for most of his life, just out of his love for the industry. And he didn't get started until Malcolm in the Middle and then Breaking Bad. So it took him a while, but he got there, and now he's a household name. Sometimes your peers, your friends may find success before you, and that doesn't mean that you're not gonna find it or that you're no good and that you don't have talent. It just means that everything happens in its own time for a reason. So just stay patient and stay hardworking. And that leads to my next point, which is that you need to surround yourself with people who understand the struggle. It is just so much more worth it when you have people right next to you who can encourage you and share the same struggles that you're going through. I find it absolutely necessary to surround myself with those types of people. So definitely seek those people out because you will need them in your career. And they'll need you too. And I think the last thing for today that I will put out there is very important. A lot of new actors struggle with this, but don't compromise your boundaries and what you're comfortable with just because you're new. I have been there before, and I know that probably most actors have, because when you first start out, you want to do anything to get the job. And as much as you want it, don't forget who you are and what your values are. Ultimately, even if it isn't something that is super ill intent and something that's malicious, you are entitled to your own boundaries. For instance, getting an audition, which I have gotten a couple of auditions like this, but if you get an audition for a scene and it calls for intimacy and they don't have an intimacy coordinator and they're not willing to get that for you, don't take it. I've been there before and I just passed on the gig. Be able to advocate for yourself. If people try to change things or push the boundaries, you have the power to say, no, I am not going to do that. Just because people want something to put on their reel, they'll just take a gig without thinking about boundaries they've made for themselves or whether or not it's a safety concern. You just need to look out for yourself. In a perfect world, we wouldn't have to deal with this, but we do. And whether or not it's a small or big budget, it happens across the board. And I think we learn as we go along, but definitely for a new actor, I would just say, keep your eyes open. So those are 4 very important things to me that I wish that I would have thought more about going into this career, but there are many more that I could talk about for hours. But if you have any questions or if you have something that you would like to add to the list, put it below. I'd love to hear it, and I'd love to cultivate a community where we can talk about this type of thing. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Katie Marie Aker. I approve of this message. I'll see you all in the next one.